Have you ever gone to a trade show and fallen in love with a gorgeous coral only to not buy it just because you had to fly home? Well, believe it or not, you can actually fly with fish and corals. It's a very intimidating thing to do, but if you know all of the rules and you know what to expect, it's not that scary. And today, I'm going to talk all about it in this video. Hi there, I'm Hilary for Waterlogged on behalf of SaltwaterAquarium.com. I can't tell you how many times I went to trade shows, wanted to buy corals, but was too intimidated to fly with them. But since then, I've been forced to fly with corals because I have a very limited selection where I live. And of the several times I've gone, it's actually pretty easy. So I thought I would make a video. We're going to talk a little bit about all the rules that you need to know to fly with corals because it's totally allowed. I'm going to tell you about some of the different containers that you can use to fly with corals, and then I'm going to give you a step-by-step what you can expect when you fly. And maybe if we have time, we'll talk to some of the Saltwater Aquarium community members and get some of their tips as well. Let's get started. Now, I want you to go ahead and pull out your phone. I want you to follow along with this because we're going to bookmark and save this or screenshot it for future reference. Go to a browser. Type in TSA.gov. When you get there, you are going to look where it says, "What can I bring?" Go ahead and click on that. When you see a search bar, you're going to type in fish or coral, whichever one pertains to you. Both of these are going to be the same, so let's go with coral. So these are the rules that you have to follow if you want to fly with corals. So first comes first, it needs to be a sealed container. And the second thing is it has to be a clear container. They need to be able to look in it and see very easily. And that's it. Those are all the rules for flying with fish or coral. There's a little asterisk at the end that says a TSA agent is ultimately the one that's going to make the decision. Keep that in the back of your mind. We're going to touch on that in just a minute. But let's now talk about the different containers that you can transport coral in. So the container that you use really should reflect the number of frags that you're bringing home. If you're only bringing home one, well, a lot of times the coral vendors at the shows will have little specimen cups that you can purchase from them. These make perfect travel containers for individual coral frags. Now, if you're traveling with multiple, I wouldn't mess around with several different little specimen cups. I would get a container that is big enough to fit all the ones that you're going to carry. So the next size up that you can find at saltwateraquarium.com is this container for 4. The next size, I really like this one because there's a clear container sitting inside an insulated container. So when it's time to go through security, you just pull that out and show them the container with your frags. Now the next size up is one like this. It looks like a little Tupperware container. Inside, it's got a frag holder. This is one of the ones that I use. It holds 8 frags. I like it. Usually I only bring home a small handful, so this is enough for all the frags and a little bit of space between each of them. But if that container is not large enough, well, you could even do something like a frag rack. P&W Custom makes a whole bunch of different sizes of frag racks. So one thing that you can do is get a Tupperware container, preferably one that seals like this one. It's got the little flaps that click in and it's sealed on the top. If you go to saltwateraquarium.com, you can check the different sizes. They've got measurements for all of these frag racks, figure out one that suits your needs, and then maybe consider using that. Now, one thing I would like you to remember when you're thinking if you're going to bring a lot of frags home is to make sure that you have some way to insulate it. Typically, I will keep mine in my carry-on bag, but if you've got a lot of them, you're going to want to make sure you bring some sort of cooler that the container can go in after you get through security. So now that you know about the different containers that you can travel with, let's talk a little bit about what the process looks like from buying your coral at a show to getting on the plane. Let's say that we are at the end of the show day on Saturday. I know that Sunday I have a long travel day, say 15 hours long. So when I'm purchasing my coral from the vendor, I might ask them if they could give me a little bag of extra water so that I can do a water change before I fly. Now, the next morning before I head to the airport, I'm gonna go ahead and do that water change if I'm able to get the water, and then I'm gonna head to the airport. Now, this part is important. I don't know if you like to be one of the travelers that goes last minute, but if you are bringing fish or coral with you, I would highly encourage you to give yourself an extra 30 minutes to get through security. You're going to be asking them for a special exception, so you want to make sure that you have time to get through security lines and that you're not stressed and you're not rushing. One of the things that the TSA rules state is that your coral cannot go in a checked bag. It has to be with you in a carry-on bag. So your next stop is security. Now, when you get to security, you're going to do everything that you normally would. However, when you go to have your stuff scanned, you're going to ask for a TSA agent. Now, this part is really important. You need to be polite and respectful to the TSA agent. Show them your container with your corals in it and tell them that you have a live animal. It can't go through the x-ray, and could you please get a hand check on this animal? Now, something that you should keep in mind when you're doing this is while aquariums are a huge part of our life and we absolutely know what coral are, not everybody in the world does, and TSA agents might not. In fact, the last time I flew, the TSA agent had never even heard of coral. So it was a fun opportunity for me to tell them a little bit about something that I'm passionate about. In the end, I didn't have any problems. So the next thing that they did was they took a little swab and just swabbed the outside of my container. This is something that you might see if you get stopped at security normally. They shouldn't put these swabs inside the container. It should just be on the outside. Now, if all is good, you should be good to go and ready to hop on your plane. That is my experience traveling with coral. Now, I gotta say, one great thing that helped me to become comfortable with flying and bringing coral back home with me is because of some of the stories that I'd heard from other aquarium hobbyists. So I thought I would take a second to introduce you to one of the regulars who attends a lot of trade shows and is always bringing back coral with her. All right, so as I promised, I want to introduce you to Leilani. You're here at all of the shows, always bringing coral home, right?
Yes.
Okay, are you bringing coral this show?
I am.
All right, can you tell me what containers you're bringing coral back in?
So, of course, I gotta have my little Reef Palooza cooler, but I also bring my little frag holders.
Okay, so nice and easy. We've already talked about these. You can get them online.
Yes.
So now that you got your containers that are TSA approved,
Yes.
So when you get to TSA, what do you say to them?
So basically, I smile a lot, go to like the farthest line that there's not really a lot of people, but I most importantly tell them that it's live coral and that they can surely open it up and take a look at it. And typically they do, and they're just super excited about what's in it.
Yeah.
They've never seen things like this. But they usually look at it, inspect it, make sure that it's safe and all of that fun stuff, and then we put it right back into my little cooler.
All right.
It's either this when it was small, but now it's this when I buy more.
Look at that. All right, so that's pretty. Have you ever had any trouble going through TSA?
No, not at all.
All right.
Not at all.
So that's one of the things that always worried me. I've flown 4 times, but you're a pro, and you've never had any trouble. So just having the confidence to fly, and having the right containers, and being nice and polite.
Absolutely, that's key. You gotta always be nice and polite to everyone, but especially the TSA agents.
Yes, exactly.
So here we go. I just went to TSA.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention?
My bag.
Only ticketed passengers with boarding passes are permitted through the security checkpoint.
Super nice to the TSA agents all the
Ladies and
time.
gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
And there you go. All safe and sound. One more.
Security checkpoint. Thank you for your cooperation.
Happy traveling.
Okay, I hope this video has given you the confidence that you need to fly with coral. A lot of times, overcoming our fears is simply learning what the rules are and knowing exactly what we should expect when we fly. So hopefully next time you go to a Reefapalooza, an Aquashella, a reef stock, and you find a coral that you must have, well, go ahead and get it for yourself. I bet it'll look great in your tank. This has been Hilary for Waterlogged on behalf of SaltwaterAquarium.com. Thank you so much for watching, and safe travels.